The famous strip cartoon heroine Jane is about to set out on her adventures on BBC Two with a little help from Robin Bailey, Max Wall, Suzanne Danielle and especially Glynis Barber. Here on One in 25 minutes, the Monday film is Spy Story based on the novel by Len Dayton. And now the news.
Back from the dead, the soldier who went missing on the Falklands 7 weeks ago. Sea-Link, the ferries stop, but the passengers get away. Tonight, peace talks are in progress. After Beirut's worst hours under attack, Brezhnev tells Reagan, "You've got to stop the fighting." Labour MP Bob Mellish resigns from the party after 50 years. It's in a terrible mess, he says. And the dead fish that have started a search for a poisoner. Good evening. Shortly after 8 o'clock last night, a British soldier stumbled out of the darkness that had settled on the Falkland Islands to knock on the door of a remote farmhouse. So ended one of the most remarkable stories to emerge from the war in the South Atlantic. For 7 weeks, Guardsman Philip Williams, who's 18, had been given up for dead. The army had posted him missing. His family had held a memorial service back in England. But he was alive, roaming across the island, living off wildfowl and shellfish. He'd lost his memory and thought the war was still going on. He turned up at a farmhouse at Bluff Cove, 12 miles from Tumbledown Mountain, where he'd last been seen during the fighting there on June the 14th. Nicholas Witchell reports from Port Stanley.
It was in the final hours of the battle for Stanley as the 2nd Battalion Scots Guards fought its way up the slopes of Tumbledown Mountain under heavy artillery fire that Guardsman Williams became separated from his unit. He'd been a member of a stretcher party. It appears that the wounded man he was carrying was a friend.